I'll give you Bob Beagrie. Thank you, Mark. Thank you very much for coming to see this and supporting Junction. My new book is called Leasungspell, and I'm very pleased to be launching it at Junction. And I want to say thanks to Andy Croft, even though he's not here yet, for publishing it and supporting me in my writing for more years than either of us care to remember, really. He's been an inspiration to me for a long time. So this book is about an Anglo-Saxon monk walking from Hartlepool, the Hartlepool headland, where there was an Anglo-Saxon monastery in the year 657 AD, run by Hild, who became Saint Hilda. In 657 AD, the king of Northumbria, this was when there were 7 kingdoms in England, the Heptarchy, and he went into battle against King Penda of Mercia. And before he went into battle, he vowed that if he was victorious, he would give land at Whitby for the building of a new abbey that Hild would also run. And that he would also give his daughter, who was just a toddler, to be raised as a holy virgin. And when you think that Christianity all but disappeared from the mainland at that point, it was kept alive in Ireland. Learning, reading was kept alive then. And then Columbus set up the monastery on Iona. The next one was Lindisfarne. The one after that was the one at Hartlepool. And the one after that was the one at Whitby. So there's tiny little beacons of learning left amongst all this savagery and barbarism. And then for this tiny little community on the Hartlepool headland to suddenly have a Northumbrian princess arrive. And I was thinking about that. I was thinking, she wouldn't have come on her own. She'd have come with a retinue and bodyguards. And if you were one of the monks, it would like totally upset the apple cart of your way of life. So that gave me a way into thinking about it. The text is written in this weird synthesis of Old English, Modern English, and Northumbrian, Yorkshire, Cleveland dialect. So you probably won't. Hopefully you'll be able to follow it, but don't get stuck if you don't understand particular words. Just try and let it wash over you, and you should be fine. It goes like this. We're going to just do the first 2 parts of the book, but on the tables there's little slips, and we've been recording the whole book as an audio book. So there's a website address on there, and you can listen to the whole of the book as a soundscape. But we're just going to do the first 2 chapters.
And all the worried mothers say, never side the river play. An old hag lurks in the water there with jagged teeth and seaweed hair. Her skin is green and her eyes are mean, and she's bad right through to the bone. So you better flee if you ever see her green and bubbling foam.
Whist, lads, had your gobs. The legions named this Dunham Sinus, though this fair day there be a slight sign of their mighty stone berg, with the bay shimmering like a silver scuttle, blind in the eye as God's own light, to show me the Gan from the horn of Hordness, sticky and straight into the wave swell, like a bold hope for firmness. Though in truth I feel a lightness to be outside its Frithgard, and the festering stink of Mislake Spellion within the flock of God's given skipper. Me errand be hard, though nothing over mickle, from shoulder to lifted fingers in fairness, but 3 days' trek at most, though freckened like la so fickle, full of hidden polite, beset with demon and heathen. For though caning Oswy folgeth the true faith, hath overdriven the pagans under pen of the dragon, this wild land be still scoured be tardy war gangs, clinging to the owl dark prod, like ticks to a rotten sheep, angles who wrangle with the love of Christ. The word of God, and mudholes of Inborren. Here, afore the gigants and their walls, worshipping their own uncouth gods, half beast, half man, to elk some of ham come in the Christ's long mission. Across the slake afore Utsang, afore the first lark took to lift, afore my sleep-laden brethren shook off their droffin skins of dreams. Arnlick, the good earl above, bore witness, and a few wretched curls rummaging among the minster's warm waste pits. Land and water seethe with all ghost folk, elves, hobs, orcs, whalers, will-o'-the-wisps, who would lure me wicked from the path into some bottomless ledge to swallow me hale without a rack. I rubbed the carven wooden rood hanging on a strap about me neck, whisper a prayer to God's bairn in heaven, that he will look on me and hold me hill. The eag streams gob be clothed in drifting haze, sea frit, winding shores, sheetung, hidung, the trails and shifting sandbanks, though twixt them I spy hills yon side, for the ridge a mist-strung moorland, well can I'd cross ere I reach Strionislau.
Are you going to stray on a slough? Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, through mist, strong moor, and whispering pine. You were once a true love of mine.
Howbeit, I have to guide my sin well for this errand. It be a great worth to be bearing the writ of war Mistress Hild, holy wife, so we may spread the will of Almighty God all o'er these eaglands, fling hagworms from the cliffs, looming over the wave house, bringing his tiding of frith and bliss to the world. And I have scoured this flesh for mine gannon, given my sin over fully to the love of what he'll end, so he may scour me sins of earthbound anger, lust and guilt, and tread with me through the wilderen. Me gan be wadded by the prayers and blessing of Hild, her heritage, her sin, that elk footstep be sunful, me eyes and ears keen and true. Crosswinds beat and reeds and lang grasses, churn waters of these barrens and salt wells where I startle a stiltbreed wading in shallows, heifer dipping and supping its feed through the shimmer of itself. But whelk flutters to lift in a flurry of night shadow and sleet, its bright blade of a neb piercing the stillness with pipe dreams as it glides to far strand. Settles itself, spread wide its wings in a warnung, and glares at me as if I be the devil himself. I must fold these winding tracks upstream to where the boatman waits to take me over to the southern strand, to the kingdom of Derenrees. There beginning me trod through woodoo to the old Graf, with their horned heifers and hollow hearts, where a gloom-smitten man might wade through fern froth, stoop within to stand among the creeping ringclods of green thyme. The old ark dead in its breast hoard, though living well without, and thou within, weasen, supping dew, growing and rotten, steadfast in forgetfulness. I'll now be lagging along there, but climbing up to East Nab, where Sinfire's brim at Beltane, at Laffemas, at Sawain, Earl above, I have beheld those far burnings at night from the minster window, and when on wind I hearken their wild hill song and horns across my sen to ward off their evil. The glowering, hungry hill fires brought back the burnings I saw after me lang furding into Reged, when I was green-eyed and bare Lauren in high caning Oswey's ford, fighting with the sons of Owen, where I took the life of another man, and saw his spiritus flee on his bone house, stealing something of me own soul with it, where Athling ap Owain was hacked to death, his thanes dragged into thraldom, where the slaughter and warfire spilled in through rain-drenched dells for days, until Oswey was Wislake he haft smothered any smouldering hope for hen or gled within those wreckmegs who haft speddeth. The Kinning gave his siegsprek atop his hengest, sharing his dream of a kingdom of brother Skype under the guiding hand of Northumbria. In memory of Oswald Llangwyn, we raised Thunor, rattling swords against shields, shaking war spear heifers at the peaks. But on me homecoming, I found I was near the man who hath gone. Me nerves raw, me sleep filleth with the quilling I have seen, the fells and braes full, a bloody manscrag left for craws' beaks and for wolves' maws. A dream on sands of winding waterways, grey seals sunbathe idle, Gillick tides smithying rocks, and how they honk, how they bark to one another, whiskers a bristle, coal eyes a tremble whenever they find me passing. And I wonder what dreams flow inside their flood dog skulls. Some say some seals are nae true seals at all, but shifters who have to cloth themselves in fur, choosing to dwell half their lives as deer that dive through ice-cold brine and eat stream waters, nachan raw fish and Lagan at gods and mankind, and choose a life apart on the salt sea tide. Those people Leasungspell for gawks and bairns. Rather, I reckon, there were ants beings with souls who befell some great bane or blight or harm, and sitting Lithian within the gloom for so long without someone to steer them from that trod, who have forgotten their links to mankind and choose a life apart on the salt sea tides, on the bleak edges of the world's tear ducts. The man as slow and ragged as oft haunted me breast hoard, for though we both fought baldleg with spear and shield for widow kinnings, he was nae my true foeman. I ken nae his name, neither walker after maked me sicker end and him world dead, but rather God look off the weird and slippy into the southern ground with a bloody gash me spear hath opened in his crack. I saw myself through his death mist, felt a warm wellspring, a high rugged bogers, steep woodoo and skeeltum dales spilling into his inborn earth, and on like then dare I see how we all, as blossom o' earth, burst or rot to Ganham. So that through his death I found a path to faithfulness, for well gaved off, given thanks unto him, and prayed he be in heaven with the King of Kings. The sheets of mist thicken and gobble land and sea, and our sons are bundled in swathing cloths. I have to stumble in slab and cold reed water, more than thrice lose my weg, hit a dead end, have to backplod in finding another path. The gannon be slaw. When I come upon a boulder lying like a wafer's egg, I climb on it to rest a time and wait for the field of mists to rid. Within billowing whiteness, shook 'em and skin 'em well, meld into 1,000 shapes and misshapes that dwindle. Things I canna ken. The wreckage of sea hengest, elk as big as a bird, wickerwork, dragons strung together, be humming fishing twine, looming over the earth's hide, stricken by some sickness God's scythe, spread to vellum by ground fastened pins, mickleness a gigan's thigh. Me mind have to long suffer and hunter racing a wagon as a bairn. I was o'er scared of darkness. The minster hath been a hive of fuss and flurry, a wellspring of trickery and fruitfulness, sit on the virgin Alfleda's coming. Sister Sethrith said she be the spit likeness of her mother. whom she once saw in Bebbanborough. But in mine eye, a flaed her wee lambkin looked gillig an angel. Tea a gild a glinged lily for saw a few winters. I believe bairns should be bairns while they can. But that day, when we all gathered in the prayer house, as Abbas Hill welcomed her and a horde into our flock, I knew the minster would ne'er be the same. Oswey's eyes were now locked on us at all times, through the bearing of our fladers hoose curl, poor hard, walking all about, like the Virgin's twisted grisly shadow. Hild hath forbidden weapons of war within the Frithgard, and thrusted the gang of armed ferdmen abide in the lay house behind the gate. Hengester stalled, war dogs penned, but was bunned that day to welcome Boahard's spear and sword, along with Oswey's daughter, wet nurse, and two pretty hand things. Boahard, one of Oswey's thanes. Boahard. It was said he hath slaughtered Oswey's wegward son at Gilling on the Dern Hest of the Kinning. Boahard. I hath shown him afore in times long sped. He hath led a war band in the Heergang a Reged. Boahard. I have watched him guided by the fire of bloodshed, kindly granting his war guests their end gifts by heaping fresh death all about. Boahard. Within the minster's stillness, his long braiding hair, his beard, his scarred keyful and likeness to a bear, his wolfskin mantle and sharpened stare were like winter snap at the back end of a mild bloodmaneth. Fog be a rippling brimworld forsaken its ebb, leaving me a castaway on this fist of starn, ringed by great fish with fang tooths and fins, and worms that slither up from the deeps. There be a cracking rock beside me knee. When I look nearer, I find within a nesh web, a spidera weft, a silver skin studdying with a crop of black hanging bindles, gems sucked dry by the life that weft this weird net, dwelling further in the dark of the crack, shunning the glare of the world candle, but snaring wet sparks on elk sticky thread. Only God kens what sun-shy spitterers hunker in the web hollows of me iron breasts hard. I sing to me sen while I twine time on boulder. First, hymns and canticles I learned within the minster, then eftward, lured scamful songs. Me father sang, beside the fire pit in the evenings, when I was a bairn. Leith and glee words passed doon from the old lands, behint the Wales weg, from where me forefathers came in times lang gone to stake these eaglands. Yarns of a witch queen of endless ice. The son of the Brimwilled who sought to woo a cold-hearted daughter, who had the eyes of more than one man torn from their sockets for lucky and too long upon her, and the bald son of Shield's fight with the grim steel core Grendel. The sinews of old tales were sown in me skull, for me father was a Scorpiecraft, and his word led o'er still yet wends through the meadows of mist. God rest and forgive his heathen soul. For his tongue oft ran away, weaving together tales of the old gods and war neighbours. But as me father waned, it was naught but lurid scamfulness to me suffering wife Emma. Though to me his yarns were the crashing tides of a restless sea. And oft have I stood on strand, eyes straining to see on the narrow path where Swiggle and Brimflood meet, minding the first of war wearers with salt-pitted brews to sail the cowled dread deeps. Gaelic Simil and Sigagar, dragging their warships onto these sands and pebble stands. I would think on him, treading from tumbling surf, wield of bears and sea wolves, clinking in bright steel, elkin now with boar-hard scarred keyful. I ken I am shivering, me teeth rattling, and wonder if it be the cold fog or the grim steel cords gripping me. But in time, the afternoon sun breaks through the scuds of Balclude, tearing them into tattering and swapping them away, Gaelic, the dark-like nightmares of childhood. Out o'er the extremes gob, a bag's eye 5 beams from the world light, thrusting ineth the torrent grey clued balk in slanting shafts of golden locks, neither skyping where a flicking a falcon, elk webbed in Surfian pearl, and from heaven's threshold bright swin songs of seraphim fall to bless this restless store. The good Earl be nae brittle dull thing, or there some far elegast, but quick and alive in all his handiwork. With me right shoulder aching, shank stiff from fog's clammy fingers, I plod onweg, humming glee words and whistling to brids and listening to the chorus of Land Golbeck. Shortlick, the path waxes steadmare, with wee trees gripping midden guard twixt their roots to withstand the tow of high tides. And within a thicket, 2 magpies a hop, a scrummage for lingering berries, grubs, beetles and weevils. And as I pass their Thorndyke, nod their Heffords as if they ken a kin. Though I was aft-held as a bairn, who these Brits keep a drop of the devil's blood in their creck, and so should you latch one, and without its beak, snapping a finger, happen to prog its tongue, it may speak to ye like a bairn might do, and tell you things that have nae yet come. Swilk tales are held as true for a long time, afore mine gan into the learning of heritage. Trees cluster the bulk, but where they break, I spy the wooded braes under the knuckled nab. Some days the folding tree-thick hills shimmer in bright greens, while on others, like now, lie like a dark whale flesh shimmer, washed up by the frae flood of owl, drinking all hewing from the uplift, and there, poking up behind, the hooked cliff croon Culman or Wotansberg. I quicken me stride for the sun be a-sinking, and I hearken something raw forlorn in the farness. Nae border creep, I reckon, but an elk o' the heart most Gaelic, stumbling lucid to its doom in the lech. Swilk, a wild barren wailing, sets the heart a tremble. I schneid to reach steadfast ground, to find the dry spot to lay me skull afore night's cowl be full laden. Though rest of some sleep may still fly from me, as it did last eventide afore mine leaving, where I lay restless in me bed, no but light like napping, then waken with a shudder from one dark weapon of another. Whilk lift and fall Gaelic steam mists at daybreak, until Morgan Lightung crept into me cell. And I bolted upright, shocking in clammy sweat, held within the mind rush of losing me kin, me bride and bairns, to the grim ruffian's bloody strike, who I was neat there to keep me hard folks hale, who afterward I dwelt as a wretch in the gloom, until the abbess called me to God's good craft. Although another shadow of me bitten dreams was of a fiend girl, wild water ghost, who, naked, came leaping like bright steam through me mind, as night's dark fold bears the beacon moon. Her long locks a tangle, all her lithe body griffin with wilms and streams of blue woad, nipples bored with silver rings that gnashed like stars. She spoke my name and began to lilt a Galdor. Spoke a sweet, soulful wail of woe, and I saw a screaming with scamful bismaglaw, was right skite to gan mad. So other fillet with fire guilt, a flagging me sinful flesh harm till it bled, until I hearken Warminster's bell swing, the Earl House calling lords into waking light.
I sowed the seeds of love. I sowed them in the spring. I gathered them up in the morning so soon, while the small birds sweetly sing, while the small birds sweetly sing.
That's all we're doing for tonight. Thank you very much for listening. We've got wonderful Sara, the amazing Kevin Howard, the beautiful Lucas Peter Lagan, Stewart, who's put the whole thing as a soundtrack together, who's doing Baran and sound effects, so give him a big applause. And as I said earlier, if you want to know the whole story, you can buy the book, you can read the book while you're listening to the soundtrack if you go onto that website. So thanks very much.